Hello everyone, welcome back to Coasters and Places. So today's video, I would like to talk about parks with 3 or fewer coasters in the US that are still worth visiting. I got a list of 10 for you. So there is a lot of smaller parks in the US that maybe only have 3, 2, sometimes even 1 coaster. And some of them aren't worth visiting, but some really do have a standout coaster or a couple that are definitely worth visiting and worth your time. And so I've just made a list, really kind of in no particular order, of 10 parks that fit that criteria but are still definitely worth a visit. And again, these are all in the United States. And while they're worth a visit, it's usually 1 or 2 standout coasters that they may have that just definitely makes that visit worthwhile. So let's go ahead, and by the way, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and go ahead and give this video a like. But yes, let's go ahead and get started with the number 10 theme park. The first park I'd like to talk about is Alabama Adventure, also has Splash Adventure. So this is a really great coaster, and it is a CCI wooden coaster. It has a fantastic layout. It's pretty tall, pretty fast, and it's just one of those great coasters that is a must-do if you get around to Bessemer, Alabama. It's definitely very underrated. I feel like not a lot of enthusiasts have been there to it. But this coaster is really worth it. Plus, it's just getting a retracking done. So it should be a really great experience come 2025 with that retracking. So again, it's just definitely a great coaster, and it makes this very small park worth visiting. Next up, and remember these are really in no particular order, they're just all small parks worth visiting that 3 or fewer coasters. This next park is Storyland in Glen, New Hampshire. And the coaster that definitely makes this worth it is called Rorosaurus. So this is actually a Gravity Group family coaster, but don't let the term family coaster fool you, because this coaster packs quite a punch. Like, it was actually surprising how much airtime that I got on this, and my husband also was really surprised, like, whoa. For it is a family coaster, I'd still consider it one, but it packs a lot of airtime and it's really smooth. And I also think the park's pretty, and plus if you do have small kids, this is a great park to visit in general, but this coaster makes this park worth visiting. The next park is Beach Bend Park. This is located in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So what makes this park worth a visit is Kentucky Rumbler. This is a really good GCI that is not talked about a lot. It's got good pacing, a lot of good elements. It has some pretty good airtime, some good laterals for sure. Maybe the most underrated GCI out there, honestly. This coaster alone makes this park worth visiting. But besides the coaster, this park is definitely worth visiting for the campground. It has like a super nice campground area, pretty good water park. I just think Beach Bend has a pretty good atmosphere in general for a smaller park, for sure. This one's a good one. And this coaster, yeah, definitely a really great coaster. If you like GCIs, this would be a park worth visiting. Next up is Fun Spot Atlanta, which is actually in Fayetteville, Georgia, but really close to Atlanta. And it's Air Force One that makes this park so much worth visiting. And they do have 2 other coasters, but those are just meh. But Air Force One, holy crap, it kills me that they put this coaster in this park. It's like, whoa, above and beyond here. Definitely a top 3 in the US RMC. This coaster more than makes the trip worthy of Fun Spot Atlanta. It is insane. This thing is smooth, it's fast, the airtime is world class, the inversions are perfect, literally a perfect coaster. And this is a world class coaster at this small park, and it makes it well worth the trip. A lot of enthusiasts talk about Air Force One, general public, and they're not wrong. This coaster is absolutely fantastic. It's a must-do at this park. You gotta go there. ZDT's Amusement Park is up next, and it's located in Seguin, Texas. And the reason why this park's worth visiting and why you would come here is Switchback. So it's a Gravity Group shuttle coaster, and I love the spike and then how you go backwards. It's a very unique ride and worth visiting just alone to experience this very unique ride. But it's also a good ride. It, to me, is smooth. You do get airtime. It's a good Gravity Group coaster, and it's more of a family style coaster, but it's still super fun to me. And again, very unique. Plus ZDTs. It's crazy how they cram this in the little space they have, but also ZDTs in general is just one of those parks that's just a fun little place to go to. That alone can make a park worth it, and then Switchback just elevates this park up. So definitely I would recommend going to ZDT's Amusement Park. It's a small park for sure worth visiting. Belmont Park is located in San Diego on Boardwalk by the ocean. So one of these classic boardwalk parks that seem like they're not super common, or maybe they're just hard to find. So that alone, the atmosphere and just the gorgeous views of the ocean would make this park worth it. But it has this classic hidden gem here called the Giant Dipper. So this has been called, for some people, to be rough. It does have a recent retracking though, and it is classic. Like, this coaster is like 100 years old, and that first drop, like, you're literally about to go out of your seat. It's crazy. And this is one of those old woodies with a ton of airtime, and it just hauls through the layout. And you know, it is rough in some parts, I do get that, but I still think this is definitely a coaster worth doing for the classic aspect of it. And that first drop, like, the way you get yanked, it's crazy. But this park's atmosphere is top notch, and I love that. And that's just, you know, some of the reasons why Belmont Park is definitely worth visiting. So Glenwood Caverns Adventure Park in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, technically has 3 coasters. One's an alpine coaster though, but I still consider it a coaster and a credit. Maybe some people don't, I do. But it's located, this park also has a couple other coasters, Cliffhanger and Defiance, and it's located on top of a mountain, like very high up. And these coasters that they have, they're not exactly anything spectacular, but the reason you'd want to visit and ride them is because of that setting. Way high up on the mountain, like, you feel like, oh my gosh, I might fly off this coaster over the edge, and it's, oh my gosh, got amazing views up there though. And just the thrill aspect of being so high up, like the highest elevation coaster in North America is here. Just that experience alone makes this park worth visiting. Again, the coasters may not be exactly anything record-breaking, spectacular, but it's where they are that makes this a must-visit park. Plus, the Glenwood Caverns Adventure Park has a lot to do with it as far as activities go. So, and you get to take a gondola to visit it, so that's pretty cool. There's a lot to this park. It's very scenic, very pretty, and the thrill just being that high up on the mountain, riding these rides, oh my gosh, yeah. So definitely a must visit park. Bay Beach in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So very, very small park. And it has a very good reason though of why you'd want to come here. And that reason, zippin' pippin'. So I didn't expect too much out of this going in to the park. I do know this is modeled after Elvis's favorite ride, the ride model, and the layout and design, which would have been located in Memphis, Tennessee at the time. But even with that being said, I'm like, okay, it's just a wooden coaster, right? Just kind of a small out of the way park. Holy crap, though. This coaster is chock full of some of the craziest airtime on a wooden coaster out there. Very underrated, very, oh my goodness, what just happened? Let's go again. So, and it is smooth, has a terrific layout. I can see why this would have been Elvis's favorite coaster, the model at least. So it's worth it. Like, this is a must-ride coaster. If you like airtime, this coaster is not going to disappoint you. I'm a huge fan of these boardwalk parks just because I think they just have such a pretty setting and usually a pretty good atmosphere, nostalgic type of feeling I usually get from them as well, even though I grew up nowhere near a beach, but just kind of gives me that feeling. And here we have the Kima Boardwalk in Kima, Texas, and just the atmosphere alone I think makes it worth a visit. But we have an amazing coaster to top off our visit with a Boardwalk Bullet. This is another Gravity Group wooden coaster. I think, this is the third one we've had so far. And yeah, these Gravity Group wooden coasters are great. Hidden gems, and they tend to, I've noticed, be a lot of small parks or out of the way parks. This coaster has an incredible amount of airtime. And it's pretty insane, honestly. It has a lot of good laterals, a lot of positive forces. It has a ton of track crossovers to give a lot of good head chopper effects, and it has really, really awesome pacing. Probably one of the better paced coasters of at least the wooden type of coasters out there. Incredible coaster, underrated, definitely makes this park a must visit, even with its small size. The very last park I'd like to talk about is going to be Quasi, and why you'd want to visit this park is because of Wooden Warrior. This is another Gravity Group family coaster. Definitely a lot of Gravity Groups on this list because they're that good that they can make a park worth visiting just from them alone. So this is definitely a family coaster. My big complaint about it is that it's pretty short, and on paper it don't have the stats, but it really feels faster than it actually is. And don't underestimate it. The drop, all the hills give surprisingly great airtime and legit ejector even. You also get some good laterals on this coaster too. Definitely love Wooden Warrior, very underrated, worth visiting Quasi to do this coaster. And so that concludes my video of small parks that are worth visiting, why they're worth visiting, what coaster makes them worth visiting. It's parks with 3 or fewer coasters. And if you did like this video, again, give me a like, subscribe to my channel for more roller coaster related content, and thank you so much.